Well, I thought the dolls might like a nice healthy salad. So stay tuned and see how fun and easy this is to make. Alright, we're going to start by talking about what we're using, and then as we are working, I'll talk more about why we are doing this out of this. So I'm using as the base for my salad greens is some tissue paper. This is that white tissue that you buy the gift wrap, gift bags, that kind of stuff. I usually have a bunch of this on hand, and it's just really, really handy for this, for any project. So I have some paint. Oh, and I have taped down my paper to my work tile. You need to tape it down because it's lightweight. It's going to try and pick up every time you touch it with the paintbrush. And you need to put it onto a surface that will not be damaged by the wet paint because it will soak through most likely, at least in areas. And you're going to go off the edge probably. And you want a surface you're not going to hurt down there. We're going to paint one side, we're going to let it dry, and then off camera I'll flip it over and do the second side. So I have some paint in my palette here, and this is just a random grouping of different greens that I had in my collection, kind of a bright green, a leaf green, spring greens, those kinds of greens. Depending on what kind of salad you're trying to recreate and what kinds of green paints you have will determine what you use. I also added a wine color, and I think I'm going to add just a little bit of this purple too. I have a dark plum. I'm going to add this too. I like to add these colors when I do salads because I usually buy the salad greens that have the bags of salad greens that have like radicchio or cabbage or something. And when my daughter was little, those were always her favorite parts of the salad. So we're going to take these paints. This is, like I said, is taped down with masking tape just on the corners. And I've got two rather large kind of soft brushes. If you use too firm of a stiff brush, it's going to tear the paper, or it might. So I'm going to use one brush for the green paint and then one for the other two because I don't want the green paint to turn that brown. And we're just going to dip in. And this way I don't have to clean my brush between. So why am I doing this? Well, I've got another video on the channel I did a few years ago. I'll try to remember to link that, at least in the blog post, maybe at the end of the video too, on making salad. And more traditional, I think, for Dollhouse Miniatures, I used the artificial snow that you get at Christmas, that you like use around your Christmas decorations, your Christmas villages and stuff. And that's how I usually make my salads. Except I am out and I forgot to buy any this year and I wanted to do some salads. So I decided to kind of play around with what I had on hand and figure out something to use as an alternative to that artificial snow because, face it, we've got a very limited time of year that we can pick that up quickly. I mean, you can probably mail order it year-round. I'm sure it's available on the internet year-round. But if you want to make your salad today or tomorrow, you're going to need to find something you can get locally. Tissue paper is always available. I'm going to take these two colors, kind of make a small area of them. You don't want very much of these. There's never very much of those in the bag. So I am going, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I am going to let this paint dry, and it needs to be dry, fairly dry before we turn over. Then I'm just going to flip the paper over and repeat the same process on the back side of this. And then when that is completely dry, I'll come back and we'll start working on our salad. All right, my paint is dry, and you see I did both sides. So I didn't try to line up my colors, except I kept my purple and red colors back to back as much as I could. The greens is just random. That will give more depth to your salad. Now you may be wondering, well, why are we doing this out of this instead of using polymer clay? I mean, I do a lot of polymer clay foods. The problem is that in real life, lettuce is basically paper thin. Lettuce or salad greens of different kinds are very, very thin. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to get polymer clay thin enough to make a realistic salad, especially make it thin enough to look realistic without being so brittle that it breaks right away. And this is pretty simple. From here on, we've got pretty simple steps. Tear it into a couple of pieces. And this would be a step I would say you probably see, and we're going to tear off these edges. You're going to waste a little bit of your paint. That's okay. Painted area, that's okay. I'll leave a few white areas. This next step is, it's going to be a little time consuming, but it's very easy, and it would be something I would recommend. Sit down, put on a video, put on a movie, and just mindlessly tear paper. So first off, I want to tear off most of the white from around the edges, because we don't want a little bit of white is fine. We don't want a lot of white. And actually, I'll leave that part there. So now, I think I'll tear it down. Now, it's time to, if you're going to make salads with this, I would say tear it pretty small pieces. Just little bits. Now, one advantage to this is you could get a piece, and I've got this bowl here that I got in one of the blind bags. And I'll have photos of all this later, and we're going to set up a couple of other ideas here in a minute. But once I get this all torn up, you could actually crumble and then put, once you've got your salad, enough greens to make a salad with, then you could do that and then put loose pieces on top of that, along with some, maybe some polymer clay tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever. And we're going to be playing around with this salad, these salad greens, not only today, but in future videos too, I'm sure. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to tear this all up pretty small. Not necessarily as small as I'm going to want it in a final display, but small enough that I'll be able to use it for some things. And then once we'll come back and we'll talk about what we're going to do then to make it look even more realistic for our displays. So I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I tore up some of that. I've left some of it whole. It's a little easier to store that way. And there are pieces here that are bigger and smaller, and that's fine. We can tear them up if we need to. Now, one thing we might want to do as we're using this is crumple the pieces. And yeah, this is kind of labor intensive, but you know, pretty much everything we do is. These will be very nice on things like sandwiches and things, in salads. So let's make a couple of salads. I'm going to do a couple of different things. First, I'm going to show you a little salad in here. We kind of started that earlier, but I want to show you a little bit more. Let's see if I can find a piece of the paper I haven't torn up that's got some variety in color. Oh, I kind of like this piece. So you can start out with a couple of pieces that are way bigger than you would want to have in your finished salad. And then let me, and then just kind of crumple up and then uncrumple. But by putting this in here, then you've got a good beginning. Then you can add your detail pieces on top, and you'll have a convincing salad. People will think it's all the way filled up. But let's look at a plate that I'm willing to actually glue something to permanently. So let's take another small piece of, little oversized piece of paper. And I am going to put some matte Mod Podge off to the side of my tray, hopefully where I won't stick my hand in it. And I've got a small paintbrush. Also, I have a piece of raw spaghetti, and I've got some little bits and pieces of Fimo Foods that I'm going to use in my salad as extra bits. We're going to make a little nicer salad right now. And then later we can use these same ideas. Later when I make a salad for other videos, I'll just refer you back to this one if you haven't made the salad before. And this little plate is not made very well. It was just one I made up really quickly one day because I needed a plate. And it'll work for this. It's just so we get an idea, so you guys get an idea of what I want, what the final idea is here. All right, so we get some lettuce glued down. And then let's get some little bits over here. And I've got different sizes. I just put on some YouTube videos yesterday and sat and watched YouTube and tore papers into little tiny bits. Some of these we can just put on flat. Some of them, let's kind of crumble this whole. Because lettuce and salad greens typically aren't flat. They've got shape to them. They're curved, they're wrinkly. So we want to do that. We want to make them bend and be kind of wild. Yeah. And we might need to put these in a couple of layers because I think I'm going to have to put something on here so that it will stay kind of weighted down. All right, I'm going to let this Mod Podge set up for 5 or 10 minutes and get this stuff set so it won't move around on me. When that's done, I'll come back and we can add some more to our salad. All right, that's had about 5 minutes to set up, and it's staying put much better now. Whoops, don't talk and do this, I guess. I'm going to put a few more dabs of Mod Podge on. Break myself a new tip on this. Because picking up little things is just so much easier when you've got something to pick them up with. And you can put as many or as few greens on your salad as you want. Let's get a little more. Now I think I've got my tripod fixed today so that it will stay put. I hope. I guess we'll know by the end of the video. And I'm also I've got you guys pulled back a little further. You're not as close in today, so hopefully you can still see what I'm doing, but I can also stay under camera. Like I said last week, I need a new tripod. But tripods that will fit my camera are not cheap. All right, now I pulled out a few things. Now this is, remember the olives that we made for the meat and cheese board? I've also got a slice of the ham that we made and a slice of the cheese. I sliced those into slivers. I got both green and black olives. And I also have some of our tomatoes from our tacos a few weeks ago. So I'm going to throw a couple of the smaller pieces of that. And now, let's see if I can manage to put some dots of Mod Podge on. If I was doing this not on camera, I would probably dot everything in a little differently. I'd probably I'd be able to move this up where I could actually see it, and I would probably work one dot of glue at a time. Hoping I can do this way. That one's not going to work. I can always add more off camera. Tomato, let's put an olive in. Come on, let go. There you go. Come on. Okay. When the spaghetti gets to the point where it won't let go, that also means you need to break off the tip. Because that means it's gotten too wet. It probably picked up some Mod Podge, and that piece probably has Mod Podge on it. I am going to continue putting little bits and pieces on this salad off camera. I'll get it placed where I want it. Then I'll come back, show you a close-up of the salad we made. So I'll be right back. All right, I love how our salad turned out. We've got a couple of little olives on there. We've got some cheese and some meat and just some different things. It's all layered up. And tomatoes somewhere. Tomatoes are right there. I'll have pictures on the blog. Be sure and check the blog post for photos. I think this is going to be a fun thing to play with over the next several months. Because this is made of paper and not any plastic, you can add it to your polymer clay foods like sandwiches and things and bake it right in. So you can make a sandwich, you could put it together with TLS and bake it. It's just going to be a lot of fun to play with. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What other foods would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you, hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.